What's up, everybody? It's Greg with Forever Progress. Happy Monday. And today I want to talk a little bit about marketing. All right, I get a lot of questions, and I'm going to give some stories today about when I used to manage a pretty large office. Some of the common hurdles that kept creeping into daily conversations with a lot of the agents. And I'm going to say this, you hear me say it all the time. It all starts with your mindset. The successful agents versus the agents that struggle. I always say this, there is no difference in license or access to information or anything. It's how they use it. Okay? You have to have a mindset shift when you want to get into successful marketing. All right, we're going to dive pretty deep into this today. And everyone always wants to free up more time. And time is a big excuse. It's the number one excuse I used to get when I used to ask the agents, why aren't you doing this? Or have you tried doing that technique? And they're like, oh, I don't have time. Greg, I don't have time. Well, first of all, this is your business. And if you don't have the time, then don't complain about the results. You have to put the work in. You have to put the time in now to have a successful business. Every day that goes on that you don't do a task or you don't put time into your marketing or you don't do anything related to real estate, listen, the numbers are what they are. You are pushing off 115 days because that's usually the average time from beginning to closing of a deal. So every day you don't do something in the business, you're pushing out 115 days. That's just pure facts. So let's dive into it. I got my notes here. So number one thing, marketing. All right. We are in the age of access of data. You, as an agent, have full control of your data. What you do with that is going to determine your success or your failure. All right. Let's start right out of the gate. Do you know your seasonality? When I asked that to the agents, 98% did not know what seasonality is. Your seasonality is when you take a snapshot of the year, when are you busiest? Are you busiest in the spring, in the summer, in the winter? And everyone's different. All right. But that's your seasonality. The reason why that's important is because it can determine when you should be ramping up your marketing as opposed to when you can ease back a little bit because you're busy doing transactions and deals and getting them to the closing table. All right. So it's all about the data. You have to take your data and from your marketing plan and turn it into action. Now, I always say, Greg, where do I market? I have a SOI, sphere of influence, for the new agents that don't know certain terms that I'm going to say. Your sphere of influence, okay, that's great. Or an open house, or a mailer where you're doing a farming area. These are great, but you have to take the next step. Take the time and break it down. So you're almost doing a subcategory of your marketing. So you have your sphere of influence. That's great. Okay. Take all of your business that you've done this year. Okay. All the deals you closed, whether it's 5, 50, I don't care what it is. Where did you get that business? Greg, I got 10 of them from my sphere of influence. Okay, great. That's good. But what else? And everyone used to look at me with a blank stare. What do you mean, what else? You have to create a subcategory now. Remember, data is key. The more data you have, the more data you collect, the more pinpoint you can market. And once we're going to talk about this, you start tracking all of that, you become super efficient and you actually work less and make more, which is obviously the goal of everybody. So we take the sphere of influence, those 10 deals. Okay. Create a subcategory. Are you Where do they fall in your sphere of influence? Do you talk to them every day? Are they in a group that you're in? Are they part of the gym you go to? Are they in your kids' schools? Whatever subcategory, start tracking that. All right. And if you're going to use the excuse, oh, Greg, I don't have time for this, or oh, this is going to take so much time, the initial setup is what takes most of the time. Once it's all set up, it becomes plug and play after that. The only discipline is you have to update it either weekly or daily whenever you're doing it. And you stay on top of it, it makes your life super easy. So I have a client that I'm coaching and they target the school system that their kids are in, which is a great resource, by the way, for business. So they have a sphere of influence. They have 2 kids in the school, different grades, and they are very active with all the parents. Okay. So I asked them, is that your target audience? All right. And keep in mind, I wrote this down. This is very important. Once you microanalyze the source of your business, in this example, it's your sphere of influence, you have to make sure how big your marketing pool is. Is it big enough to sustain business? Or are we talking just a few people? All right, because that's going to determine how much time and effort you're going to put into this. If you are in a class of 10 people, I don't think you should be spending hours and hours every day, every week, just targeting those 10 people. There is a better, more efficient way to attack and to market those 10 people. This is not what I'm talking about. So, my client, who is a parent, has multiple kids, 2 kids in a school system, different grades. All right. They're very active in the sports, they're very active within the community. So that is a big pool of marketing. Kids play different sports. It opens up to a more finite targeted audience. So you have your kids in your classroom, the parents of those kids. Then you break it down even more specific, the programs, the after school programs, the sports, whatever that those kids are in. So now you're seeing those parents all the time. All right. They should be put in your sphere of influence. They need to know what you do because households are always evolving, upsizing, downsizing, whatever. People always need to move, relocation for jobs, whatever. They need to know what you do. So when you are marketing them, you want to make sure that you are constantly in touch with them. I'm not talking about annoy them or bog them down with real estate trends or information, or there's a way to do it where it's not just so in your face. And trust me, we all know this. Everyone loves to talk about real estate. Once they know you're an agent, you probably don't have to bring it up at all. They are going to want to know the market. All right. And a great technique that they do is every other Saturday for those sports for the kids in that class, they'll bring donuts or they'll bring something for everybody. It keeps them fresh in mind, keeps them top of mind when they go to sell, go to list, or talking about real estate with other friends of theirs, and it just snowballs and spirals and branches out from there. So that's an example of what I'm talking about of it's not just your sphere of influence, but you're breaking it down on a more granular level of within that sphere of influence we have, I'll call it the school community, the parents of the school system. All right. That's just one example. There's other examples of where you could break it down of where you're getting your business. Okay. That's so important when it comes to your marketing. All right. Greg, I got 2 closings this year from a mailer from a neighborhood that I'm farming. That's great. Okay. Let's break that down. So it's a specific neighborhood. Okay. We broke it down one level. Is how far apart logistically are those houses? Are they a couple streets apart? What are the details of that? Are the houses similar? What was the situation of you getting that listing? Meaning, were they just moving to another town? or were they relocated? You got to get more specific details. All right, so pretty successful. You had 2 closings this year from a targeted mailing campaign from an area you're trying to farm. Okay, I have another client that does this with, and it's just exponentially growing their business. So they had a couple closings within an area. Okay, now they're targeting that area. People are starting to know the name. They saw the results of the successful sales that they did. They host now a block party, and it's not expensive to do this. It's just an idea of, once again, having the people face to a name, and it's more personal. They can come and touch you and talk to you and really get to know you on just not just let me read a mailer that came in my mailbox. Now you're a human and you're real, and you are in a fun way getting to know the neighborhood by throwing a some sort of block party. It could be a barbecue, it could be anything. You can sponsor a Halloween event for the area, whatever. There's a million different ideas of what to do, and I don't want to really spend too much time talking about that. I want to talk about the idea. So you broke that down to a granular level, and now people now know you in the neighborhood you're farming. You're not just a stranger or a piece of mail. Now, when you continue to farm, they remember that idea. They remember the event you did. You are going to at least get a shot at interviewing when they're going to sell or when they want to buy another property. You will get that call. All right. So, like I said, marketing, break it down even more and track it. All right. Set up an Excel sheet or whatever and track your business and get as finite and as detailed as possible on all your successes. Okay, because that's what's going to help you target and make more business in 2024. Now, you hear me say this all the time. I haven't even mentioned, I don't care what the market's doing in 2024. I don't care. And all the successful agents could care less. They are focused on their business plan and all the tools and the systems they have set up for their business. All right. And another thing I wanted to talk about is leveraging. When is the right time to leverage people? Meaning, bring a partner in, get an assistant, a virtual assistant. And a lot of you are going to say, oh, well, I can't afford that. Okay, that's fine. You might not be able to afford it right now. Remember, words matter. So choose your words carefully. If there are virtual assistants, there's virtual tools that are not expensive that you can use to just give you back a little bit of your time while you're still doing your business. You do it more and more where your business is growing, you're not taking up as much time, and now maybe you've created a nice little cushion where you can bring somebody in or can actually hire a person to leverage now your business. And there are obviously different ways to pay them. You can pay them from your closings. You can pay them a percentage. You could pay them up front. That's on you. There's a million different ways. I've seen it all different ways successfully done. That option is all yours, and it's a choice. All right. You have to have a mindset shift in order to do this. Everyone wants to free up their time. All right. This is a long-term business. This is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Same thing with coaching. Coaching is a long-term vision. All right. You implement these things now to get the benefits years from now. All right. Everyone that gets into real estate thinking they're going to make a ton of money right away, that's why most don't last, because the reality is you won't. It takes time. Yes, it can be done. I've seen it. I'm not saying it can't. But the reality is, for the majority of people, it's going to take time. If you set up all your systems now, you will be successful later on. It all starts here. And you also have to be careful of all these people that are out there influencing and you're following, and that claim they're coaches or real estate experts. Meanwhile, they have absolutely zero experience in the real estate space. They've never sold a piece of property. They've never transacted a deal. They've never done anything. Why would you, number one, listen to them or follow them? Number two, why would you give them your hard earned money to coach you? If I am going to be coached in basketball, you want to bet your ass that I want a basketball coach that knows the business, played the sport, knows the ins and outs of it. It's the same thing in business. It's the same thing in real estate. All right. Once again, Forever Progress's goal is to create the best agents where they become completely self sufficient, where they hold all the leverage and they are not reliant on all of these big box companies out there. I've worked for a lot of them. I've had great experiences. I've had not so great experiences. I've had great managers and I've had horrible managers. All right. I want everyone to be able to freely move in and out, start their own company, do whatever, not at the beck and call of these companies. All right. A lot of real estate, the landscape is starting to change. Thankfully, it's been archaic for way too long, in my opinion. It is becoming more modern, and you want to align yourself with a company that is forward thinking, modern, modern looking, modern looking in their marketing, and very forward thinking in how they transact their business, and most importantly, how they treat their agents. You know, a lot of these companies have marketing directors. They're not even from the real estate space, and it shows in their marketing. They don't know what they're doing. All right. If you are good at marketing, then you should market yourself. Do it yourself. Don't be at the beck and call and try to squeeze all your great ideas into the small box that the company gives you. All right, it's restricting. I believe in freedom, and I believe that great ideas should not be said no to. And I don't want anybody's growth stunned by a company or a person in charge that just doesn't know what they're talking about. And I see it every single day. All right. Your greatness should not be stopped. If you truly feel strong about something, if you really like this marketing idea, go for it and do it. And if it works, that's great. And if it doesn't, okay, change it up and do something different. All right. I'm going to wrap up with this. Let's do a quick little summary on marketing. You have to take the time to not only market, but track your marketing. And in order to track your marketing, you have to break down the categories specifically on a granular level where your deals came from. Track your successes, break them down, rinse and repeat. And you do 10 deals a year. 5 of them came from your SOI. Now we know specifically where those 5 came from, so we can really pinpoint and target, because the goal is to grow those 5 into 10. And that's just your SOI. Now, another marketing area where you did 2 deals, like we said earlier, from a farming campaign, now we want to turn those 2 into 4. So we doubled both areas. So we went from 10 total deals. Now, next year, we can do 20. And all of this is because we're tracking our data, we know our data, and we are very specific in the areas. Now we're more efficient. We've only added a little bit more time to our plate, but look at the result. You've doubled your business. Now keep doing that year after year. You're in the driver's seat and you're living a pretty good life and you're very happy and you are rocking and rolling in business. And it will compound on itself if you keep this going. But remember, You have to be disciplined in your actions. You have to be disciplined with your systems. The Remember, every day you don't do something, you're setting the clock back 115 days to a closing where you should be getting your money, and you're watching others do it. All right. There will be a shift in the real estate business. There will be a shift in the type of successful agent. You know, these agents have been around forever that can barely use a cell phone, can barely turn on the computers, that, oh, I'm too busy to send an email, or I'm too busy to upload this. They are going to be extinct like the dinosaurs. And I say good riddance. It makes room for the hungry, forward thinking, modern real estate agent, something that this industry really needs. And there are plenty of them out there, and they're coming fast. All right. Have a great week and put your systems in place. We are a couple weeks away from 2024. You should be already in 2024 mode with your marketing and your systems in place. And if you're not, don't panic, but do it today. Service your clients, be the source. All right. Till next time, have a great, great week.